afternoon again, everybody, and welcome to day 20 of Teaching Through COVID. Again, my name is Peyton Bush, and I teach 7th and 8th grade science in the Iowa City Community School District. Today was day 20 of our school year, day 3 with Cohort A in the classroom of our hybrid style learning. We started hybrid style last week on Monday. We had Cohort A come Monday, Tuesday. Cohort B would then come Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. This week, we flip who comes on Wednesdays, and so we have Cohort A this week, Monday through Wednesday, and then Cohort B comes on Thursday. We don't have anybody on Thursday because we don't have class on, we don't have anybody on Friday because nobody has class on Friday. That creates a little bit of a weird week, especially with planning. Getting things moving forward to getting more curriculum handed to the kids because it's really hard to meet with one cohort for 3 days just to see the other cohort for one. So my A cohort kids get a lot of instruction, a lot of structured instruction material in class here the first couple of days, just because I'm here in class to work with them through it, answer any questions that they may have. This is where the issue kind of would come in, like I had mentioned on last week's videos, again, is making the work at home for the other cohort strenuous enough, make it meaningful enough, again, not just busy work. So this week, that was kind of a challenge to do so with my Cohort B. However, we've covered enough material, they have enough to work on that I've really front-loaded their week, so they have quite a bit to do today and tomorrow. Wednesday's more of a back-off, relaxed day, and then when they come in class on Thursday, we'll take the time to cover some experiments that they should have been handed in and done already. If not, we're still going to go over them. I'll take any questions that the students may have. Again, I did things in a different order. We did vocab second, and we started with the experiments. A lot of people would argue that that's definitely the wrong way to do it, but my argument back is the kids have all of the answers almost readily available at their fingertips because of their Chromebooks. So if they weren't aware of a word or didn't know a word, I wanted to see how many of them would take the initiative and look the word up using Google. Again, they don't need to be spoon-fed everything when all of the answers are there for them. That's the big change, the big shift, in my opinion, on what should be kind of happening here in the educational system. There's your math and your English classes that, yes, you do have to do things because that's just the stead and tried and true way. I mean, math, you build on it from addition and subtraction to your multiplication and division and so on and so forth to your more intricate type of algorithms and things. So there are baby steps that you have to do. Lit, you learn how to write a sentence. You learn pronouns and nouns. You learn how to write a paragraph. Then you learn how to write a letter and then a book or a story, whatever. It grows on itself. Science, there's really the one foundation block of kind of the common knowledge science that, I mean, if you're going to like and be involved in science, you kind of need to know the basis, like the nature of science. I mean, when we cover that, the 7 steps, making an observation, like question, hypothesis, data, all of those things, that's a very basic fundamental. You could teach that because those are kind of some soft skills that need to be taught to new scientists. So that's what we're doing. What I'm getting at is a lot of things have been discovered. A lot of information is, like I said, at our fingertips. It's on our phones, it's on the computers, so that could be laptops, Chromebooks. I mean, you get the idea. What I'm trying to say is because all the answers are almost out there, all the answers that we need to find needs to be discovered. So it's not a lot of cookie book labs we need to be doing with these kids, and we're trying to get away from that, but it's how can we teach these kids to utilize their tools, utilize their resources, how to problem solve, how to analyze, so that when they're older and they're faced with challenges and they have something at work, whatever their job may be, they can think through the process on how to solve it. They know how to use their resources around them. Because, again, you're not going to remember everything, and nor should you have to remember everything. And that's why it's important to know how to look things up, how to do some research, and like I said, utilize those resources. So we're kind of battling that. It's an internal thing. For me personally, is yeah, that's great that we're teaching them all this information and trying to have them regurgitate it back to us. However, it doesn't mean anything to them because to them it's just information, and they're not completely wrong. I'm not trying to say that the students are right. I'm not trying to say that the teachers are right, because there's a lot of truth on both sides of the spectrum. There's a lot of truth in trying to do things that we've been doing in science. There's a lot of truth with just kids having the information at their fingertips. There's no point to cover everything that they could go at home and figure out the entire unit in one night by just going through Google. So it's just making sense on how to make sense of the information, all that good stuff. So I know that was a little bit of a tangent, but that's kind of what I've been talking to my kids a lot about here today, is just learning how to utilize the Chromebooks for their appropriate use, to help minimize our distractions, utilize our time, become more effective and more efficient with what we're doing. So I do apologize for the tangent. Some other news going on. Junior high basketball does start next Monday. 8th graders have practice in the morning. 7th graders have practice after school. Coaches meeting tomorrow. Parent meeting Thursday night. So we'll see what the turnout is. I know numbers right now are a little bit low, but it is what it is. We have the kids already split up into cohorts, and so that's going to then limit the days that they'll come to practice, which is kind of sad, but it's at the junior high level what we have to do. So like cohort A will always practice, Monday and Tuesdays, and then whatever Wednesdays they're at school. Cohort B will practice Thursdays and Fridays, and then again whatever Wednesday they're at school. We would like to split those groups into like A and B teams if possible, but again, it kind of depends on how many people end up coming out. Games for for cohort A will be on Tuesdays. Games for cohort B will be on Thursdays. So that's how we'll do that as well. It'll be interesting. Players are allowed one ticket themselves to give to a parent guardian to at least allow some fans in to be able to see them play. So at least we have that. That'll be pretty interesting. Everybody will be required to wear a mask. Coaches have to wear a mask. Kids have to wear a mask unless they're playing in the game. So we're still trying to do our best to mediate the spread, everything like that, following the guidelines the best that we can that are put in place. Moving on then, parent-teacher conferences, if I remember correctly, are already next week. It's hard to believe that even though we've only been in school for one physical week, we've been in class now for 4. So we're about to midterms, and about that midterm week is about when we have parent-teacher conferences. Again, those are going to be a lot different this year. We're going to have Zoom meetings where all the parents will be invited into one Zoom meeting. They'll be kept in the waiting room until I, the teacher, or any teacher gets done with a previous family or parent, whatever the case may be. And so we only let one in, and then kick them out, let in another family, kick them out, and we'll see kind of how that works and how it goes. Those happen after school. We typically spend about 3.5 hours with conferences on 2 separate nights. In our first go-around, and I'm not sure if we'll have 2 go-arounds, but our first one, again, I believe is next Wednesday, so we'll see how things go there. One thing that I kind of caught myself doing and other colleagues doing is kind of calling this year a wash year. It's just a survive and let's just get back to normal things before we try to think too much about anything. That's all great and dandy, and I mean, I see and I kind of agree with some of that argument, but I guess one thing I've enjoyed so far about this year is having the smaller class sections. Allows us to have a lot more in-depth conversations, allows us to answer and ask a lot more questions. So to me, it's not necessarily a wash year. It's really a year that we can make sure the kids truly understand and master the standards. Previous years, you go over the stuff. You maybe get to cover one assignment every other week or so. If you're a good teacher, master teachers may be better. Being a third-year teacher, 3.5, 4th-year teacher, still trying to understand to get those kind of things figured out. Again, science class with 30-some kids, I will admit, is a challenge some weeks on getting everybody on task so that we can review things. Now that the classes are half that, a quarter of that in some cases, again, it's created a sweet opportunity to really discuss our work, go through any confusions, misconceptions that we may have had. It's been pretty nice. So I'm trying not to think of it as a wash year. I'm thinking of more as really an in-depth kind of golden year, because you have smaller classes to kind of go into deeper depths with. So trying to change the thinking, trying to change the mood about it, the perception of the year, and hopefully that kind of has some sort of positive impact on, I guess, my mindset, hopefully my students' mindsets then moving forward. And if I can kind of share that with other teachers, maybe that will kind of help the culture stay positive for longer than it may. Who knows? We'll just have to see. So again, I mean, things are going well. It'll be interesting to see how things are going at the end of next week, because then we would have completed now a couple of weeks in the hybrid model. Still challenging of trying to take attendance for asynchronous kids, trying to see if they're doing what they need to do. Trying my best to get caught up and stay caught up with grades. It's a little bit easier this year, one, because there's fewer kids, and two, it's all online, so some of it can be pre-graded for you, and then you just have to go finish it up. So that's kind of a nice change as well. But for the most part, life is great. Things are going well. I hope you all are doing well also. So guys, as always, take care, be nice to your friends, wear your mask, drink your water. Goodbye.